Hey everyone, I'm going to show you how to edit one of my Corjl templates. So after you have logged in and you have opened up your template, you're going to be on this screen. And a couple of things I want to point out before we start. So you're going to look over on your left hand side over here, and that's where you're going to save your changes. If you want to start from the beginning, you can click revert to original, and that's going to delete everything that you've done and bring it back to exactly how it looks when you very first opened it. Right below that, you will have your instruction page and then another one below that. Sometimes some of my listings come with multiple items, and they're all going to be listed on this left-hand side. So you may have to scroll down to view all of those items. Those would be in some of the kits that I offer that, like I said, have multiple items in that set. Another thing, if you come over here to your right-hand side, that's where you're going to see, edit background, add text box, replace image. But the most important thing is down here at the bottom, you're going to see layers. And if you click that down arrow, it's going to open that box and you're going to see all of the different layers that are in this template. And there's a couple of things when we're changing the photos around that I will come back to that later. But for now, we're going to start with just kind of showing you how to edit text, colors, and then how to add pictures. So on this particular template, this word hello right here, it is actually a word art. So those are super easy. When you click on them, you can enlarge them, make them any size you want. The other cool thing that you can do is if you come over here on the right hand side where this is highlighted yellow, you're going to select change image colors. And then you click on that. And these are all the preset colors that this particular card has. So it's really easy if you want to just change it to one of those, or you can drag this around and make it any color that you want. After you've done that, just click off it and the color is changed. And then I'm going to actually bring it back to its original color, which is one of these preset colors. And we'll click off of it. Okay, so that is how we edit images, text images, or down here at the bottom, like the calendar, it is also an image. So same type of thing. I can make it bigger, smaller. I want to bring it back, so I'm going to come click undo. And then I can come to this highlighted yellow section and change the color as well. So that's pretty simple and easy. For text boxes, we're going to come here. There's a couple of different ways you can edit the text. After I've selected it, which you can select by clicking on it, by clicking on these text boxes, or you can also come over on the bottom right hand side to the layers palette and you can click on the different text boxes in the layers palette. So I try to do them in order, so hello's first and then the name on this one. So I'm going to click on the name and I'm going to double click. If I double click, I can change the text there, or I can select it, then come to the upper right and change it here. One thing that I want to show you is if we end up with a shorter or longer name, a couple of ways that we can make sure that it fits in the area that is, for the name. So let's change this name to a longer name. Oops, Jackson. Okay, so see that name, it dropped it down onto 2 lines, which we would not want. So there's a couple of different options that we can do to make this the correct size. One of the first things that you can do is just come over here and I can change the font size. I'm going to scroll down, let's make it 24. So when I did that, it made this text box smaller, and so I'm just going to widen the text box now, and then it all fits on that one line. So that was one option. Another thing that we can do, so I'm going to go click undo. Undo. Okay, so it's big like that. I'm going to widen this text box until that's all on one line again. But as we can see, it doesn't fit there. So from there, I'm going to come right under where the text box is on this right side, and I'm going to select resize as an image. So once I've done that, now I can just make it bigger or smaller, kind of as I showed you before with the images on the page. So that is one option. I'm going to do undo again and show another option. Okay, as you can see, the letter spacing, it's a little wider than normal, and on a lot of my templates I will have that letter spacing wider or narrower, just depending on how I want it to look. So for this particular one, this name, it's still going to be too big even if I bring those letters closer together. So for starters, I'm going to come and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then if you see right here, so I have the font, the size, and then right here, this LS, if I click on that, see, I have that at a 4.5. 0 is normal, and then I can just keep making it wider or narrower. Another thing I would like to show you too, when I do resize as an image, I can also stretch it or make it, smaller that way. So I can widen it, make it taller, but if I want to keep the text at its normal ratio, I'm going to want to drag from the corner, and that will keep it as it is. Then if I click resize as an image off, it's going to bring it back to its normal sizing. Okay, so that's kind of how you do the text. I'm just going to show you if I was coming down here, born March 30th, 2021. Pretty easy to come in and change these times. 19.5. Oops. Okay, and then same thing down here. Mom, Dad, and Sophie. So now that made that a little bit smaller than it was originally, but I can move this heart and make it look right. Another thing, a lot of my photos have a border behind them, so I can click that. Over here you can see I've named it photo border, and I'm going to style that shape. I can change the color to anything. I'm going to bring it back to its original color, but just so you could see that. And then there are some other things that you can do with shapes. You can add a stroke, which adds a line to like a border, and you can make it as thick or thin as you want that, and you can also change the color. And then you just uncheck it if you would like that off. You can make some changes there. You can also do that with text boxes. So now I've clicked back on this name, and if I come here to style text, you can add drop shadows, strokes, gradients, curve it, and all of that kind of fun stuff. Okay, so now how to simply add pictures. Sometimes people want to change the amount of pictures or the shape of the picture, and I will show that next, but for starters, I just want to show how to add a photo with the boxes as I have them. So it's super easy. You're going to click on this gray box. When I click on that, you're going to come up to your upper right and hit replace image. And then you're going to select this drag and drop drag and drop file here, or click here to browse for file. I'm going to click and browse, and then you're just going to go on your computer to where it is. And right here, I'm looking at these are the pictures that I want. And I'm going to select this photo and hit open. Sometimes depending on the file size, it might take a little bit for it to load. After I select it, this is going to go round and round. Okay, so once it's in, as you see, it is hooked to that box that we replaced. One thing that a lot of people sometimes do is they select a side circle. And if you do one of those, you're going to stretch and distort your photo. You always want to go to a corner of this photo. When I drag it from the corner, it keeps the ratio correct. If I grab from a side, I stretch it, and I do not want to do that. So I'm going to select undo. I want to enlarge this photo until it fills the entire space. I can make it bigger than the space because it's constrained to that space. then I can get it exactly where I want it. Another thing you're going to see are these dotted lines around the outside. That's the bleed. You always want, if the photo is supposed to, you want it to go past that. That is what will likely get trimmed off when it is printed. And so you just want to make sure that the photos extend past there if that's how it is in the template. Okay, so I'm going to quickly add these photos. So I've got that one done. Now I'm going to click on the middle one, select replace image. And like I said, I'm going to show you in a minute what to do if I want these boxes to be a different size. I'm going to fill the space here. See, and I don't want to ever leave like a little bit of that gray space showing. I want to enlarge it until none of that's showing. I'm going to click on my next one. And as soon as that one is in, same thing. I'm going to make it fit the space. Okay, so now I have the front looking exactly how I want it. Most of my cards will have a back or a second page, and then this is up here where you will make that, where you'll go to the back. So select the arrow, and then now same thing back here. I have photos that I just come in and add. One thing I want to show you now though is what to do if we want less or more photo boxes. So to start, I'm going to show you if I decide I want, let's say I just want this to be one big picture on the back, okay? This is where it gets a little bit tricky. So you're going to want to come over to the layers palette, and let's say I want just one picture. I'm going to come and I'm going to delete these other two pictures. And I have to delete the clipping mask as well as the photo. But now the problem is I come in here, and if I'm trying to change the size, it is just changing that top layer. It's not changing the photo box. So I need to come over to my right hand side, and when I'm clicked on that, it will be highlighted. I'm going to right click and select release clipping mask. And then that can now be moved separately from the photo box. Now I can select the photo box, and I can resize this however big I want it. So see, I've drug it to be that entire size now. And then I have two options. I can make this back to that size, and then come and select that clipping mask, right click and select create clipping mask, and then just like my others, then hit replace image. And then it will come in and it will be clipped to that photo spot. So that's one way. If when I'm rearranging how I want these pictures, there is another way to do it where I don't have to use that clipping mask. So let's say I have all this and I accidentally delete my picture. So all I have left is my photo box. And so now I don't have, if I click on it, I can't say replace image or anything like that. So I would want to make sure I am not clicked on any boxes. So I'm going to click over here off the screen, and I'm going to select add a new image. And I'm going to come in and select my picture and bring it in. And you'll see when I have it in now, it will not be clipped to that photo space like they were when I selected replace image. So now see, I can move this any way I want, but it's not in that photo space. So I'm going to come over to my layers palette, and I need to make sure that that photo layer is directly above that photo box. When it is, I select the photo layer, I right click and select create clipping mask, and now I'm hooked to that box. So that's important to know, especially if you're wanting to add more photo boxes. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So I'm going to delete this picture, and let's say I want 2 photos. So I'm just going to change these now to the size of the pictures that I want. And to create another photo box, I'm going to select that and I'm going to say duplicate. So now I have another photo box. Get where I want it, get it the right size. Let's just make these both like this. I don't think these are going to work for my pictures, but I will show you. So now they're like that. And actually, so now, and another thing you want to make sure, so I'm clicked on, this is labeled photo 1. And when I click this, because we duplicated it, it's also named photo 1. You might want to come down here, and if you double click, oh, it's not going to let me change that. Well, bring it and drag it down below photo 1. So we know that's photo 1, that's photo 2, and we're actually going to add another photo box like this. So see, I brought that one down, but this one is now still tall. So I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. So right now I can just keep adding photo boxes, as many as I want. I can arrange them any way I want. Okay, so now they're like that. So like I said, I'm going to try to put them in the right order. So I have, that's photo 1. Let's bring that one to the top. Photo 2, let's put that in the middle. And then there's photo 3. Okay, so from there now I'm going to click off of my photo boxes and click add a new image. So I'm going to select the image I want. And I want this one to be this tall space over here. So see, it's been brought in, but it's not clipped to anything. I'm going to come make sure it's right above the photo box I want it clipped to. I'm going to select the photo layer, right click, and hit create clipping mask. Now I'm clipped in and I can change its size and get it exactly how I want it. Now I'm going to come to this photo box, click off of it, add a new image. And then you'll see over here it's loading, but it is not going to load on top of the correct photo box. So as soon as it's in here, I'm going to drag it right above the correct photo box, click on the photo, right click, create clipping mask. And sometimes when they're really big, you can't always see where that corner is. So you just drag it around until you see where the corner is. And remember to always drag from the corner, not the sides. Like that. And then we'll add our last image. As soon as that image is loaded, I will clip it to the third photo box. So see, I'm dragging it down right above here. Click the photo layer, right click, create clipping mask. Resize it, and there it is. So you can zoom out and zoom in up here. Also, if you wanted to have just a front, you can totally delete that whole back. I don't want to do that, but you can. And then we'll come back here to page 1, and I'm just going to double check everything. Make sure, especially there's no little gray area peeking out from behind those pictures, and that it's exactly how we want it. I'm gonna make this, just change this a little bit, make this back bigger. Change my line spacing. You can also, when you have 2 lines, which I have right here, you can click on this up and down arrow, and that's going to make the spacing between the 2 lines bigger and smaller. And you don't want to like jump up to 2 or it's big. You would want to go like 1.1, you know, 1.05 even. It just moves it up. Just can make it a little, the spacing a little bit different if you would like. Also, you can change all the fonts if you don't like how one of the fonts looks. You can make them all caps, left justified, centered. You can make all those changes. Okay, once you have it, like I said, exactly how you want it, you're gonna come over here and you're gonna say save changes. Which, if I was actually doing this, I would have wanted to hit save while I was working on it. Once I have saved the changes, I can come in here and I can download. And you get the option to save as a PDF, a JPEG, or a PNG. You're gonna do a PDF if you're planning to print these at like a print shop, you know, like Staples or Kinko's. If you're printing something with photos, that is not gonna have as good a quality as printing at like a photo lab. One place that a lot of my customers print is Costco or any photo lab that prints like a double-sided card on cardstock that is printed at a photo lab. That is going to be your best. So anyway, I'll first show you if I select PDF and come in here to next. Here are my different options. You'll want to make sure, I mean, unless you're printing one of my posters, but if you're printing an invitation, you're going to want to make sure it's on 8.5 by 11, just a letter size paper. And you can show the bleed and do trim marks. And then when you trim that, it's going to trim off that little bit of excess edge and then that just makes sure that you're not going to ever have any like weird white spacing on the edge. So you can print multiples per page, or if I turn that off, it's going to have just one per page. And then it's going to be two-sided. So there's your front and your back. And then you would select download PDF and it will save that. So that is how you do. Oh, and if you wanted just the front or the back, you can select which pages you want. Now, if you're going to print these at a print shop such as Costco or anywhere where it's going to be an image, you're going to want to save that as a JPEG. So you're going to come in here, select JPEG. And then you won't need to show trim marks with that, but I know Costco and most photo labs, they will want you to have that bleed because some trimming will occur. So that adds that extra space that's past that dotted line, and that's to ensure that nothing gets cut off, you know, that you don't have any wording get cut off. So that's always very important to select show the bleed, and then you're going to see both sides if you want. You can click these arrows and then you're going to select download JPEG and it's going to save those. You can come in and edit as many times as you want. You can download as many times as you want. Once you have completed, like hitting save and download, it is not a one-time deal. If you have any questions or need any other help, please reach out. Just shoot me a message on my Etsy account. I always try to get back to you super quick. I appreciate you ordering from me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much.